Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Oceanic Pro League. I'm Atlas, this is Rusty, and we just witnessed Sin going to town on Absolute. That was ridiculous.
Sin took it to them straight away. Yeah. From start to finish, that game was in favor of Sin, and they did not hold back.
Yeah, and Absolute sort of picking this comp that sort of wanted to scale, but didn't have a lot of AoE. Just didn't seem to work out from Champion Select, but man, Sin going back to their roots, really looking fantastic with these mid-game comps, and we'll see whether they continue to bring it into the OPL as things continue. But let's move on, ladies and gentlemen. Chiefs taking on the Direwolves now, a massive rematch of the OPL final.
Yeah, the Split 1 finalists, Chiefs and Direwolves. It's going to be a big match, and well, where do we even start with both of these teams? They've been around for a very long time, and they are currently first and second on the ladder.
Yeah, of course, 5-0 for the Chiefs, 4-1 for the Direwolves, losing a cheeky game to Legacy. Of course, Legacy looking fantastic in the earlier weeks, but now have dropped a couple. Of course, Chiefs and Immunity taking them down. But now the Direwolves looking to try and solidify their spot in potentially #1. Taking this game means that both of these sides are going to be on 5-1, but it's going to be a difficult road. Of course, Perfection no longer, not actually on the lineup. Of course, still on the roster, but has been taken out of play, suspended for a couple of weeks for some maybe play that he probably shouldn't have done. Sort of said some things that he shouldn't have. So make sure that you're not toxic, ladies and gentlemen. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to play in the OPL. That's basically it.
Yeah, that's a fact, but in saying that, the new top laner is going to be Chippies. Let's go back to the game.
Yes.
Lessons with Atlas.
Yeah, lessons with...
So
Look, you just don't want to be toxic, okay? It's the thing. There's no need to... Let's not beat around the bush.
It's true.
Okay? Don't say bad stuff.
Most importantly,
Chippies and Sharp are now going to be on the lineup. Yeah. Sharp missing... Sharp is going to be into the mid lane, and Chippy's there to the top side of the map, of course. Hecarim main, Aurelia main as well. Fantastic player, of course. Played throughout the OCS as well. Just hasn't managed to make it into an OPL side. But Sharp, of course, natural habitat, that mid lane.
Yeah, he's come back to his roots, which was the mid lane, of course. And switching to the top, but coming back now for this week at the very least. We'll see what happens afterwards. Yeah. But we'll see how he goes. It should be quite comfortable for him.
Yeah, of course, did play the Azir in their last match. Of course, Perfection wasn't there on Monday either, so, of course, didn't look too bad. Of course, they came back from an early deficit in their previous game, but look, we'll see whether they can make it work a little bit better, and Chippy's managed to pick up the Hecarim as well. But things have definitely progressed here as far as the bans are concerned. Chiefs banning away Bard and Sivir very early on, and Callista Hecarim going to hit the bench here for the Direwolves, and Chiefs now thinking about their final ban. Gragas going to be taken off the board. Spook's not wanting to first pick that one away. I think they're looking towards an Alistair potentially, because the bottom lane seems to be what we want to talk about completely for this game, because of course these supports doing some ridiculous things. They're total KDAs, right? Chuffer is on 18.3 as a KDA, and you're like, okay, that's just ballistic.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, but EGM's on 19.
Yeah.
So what the hell?
And they both play Nautilus and Alistar, so most likely going to see... We're most likely going to see both of those. And something that I do need to note here is that Chippies is known for his Aurelia play. It was banned on Monday away from him, not respected this time, and most likely going to be a first.
Yeah, Chippies is definitely considering it. They've got some time, though, as Sybil is hovering over what is... the other early aggression jungler now currently sort of towards the top tier of the meta in that Rek'Sai now that the Gragas has been taken away. Chippy's now considering the Maokai, of course. Swiper more than happy to head back to that one. They are going to lock it in, so jungler and top laner now locked away for the Direwolves, but not giving their comp too far away. Yeah,
they pick very meta-style top laners and junglers, both very standard in the picks, and they don't go straight away for the Nautilus. It's a very safe pick for their second rotation, and it's going to be on Direwolves to see what they opt into last picking. With the availability of that support, they can put anything they want with it, the AD or the mid, and then last pick that last champion.
Yeah, now the Chiefs, considering what they want to go with, of course, already locking away EGM's signature champion, the Alistair, of course, heading over to Wildcard quite a while ago now, but definitely making waves on that champion, really looking fantastic when Legacy headed over there. Now on the Chiefs lineup, wanting to make the same type of impact. Spooks and Swiffer taking their time, and it is going to be the Azir Nunu locked in, and Swiffer hasn't necessarily made himself out to be an Azir main necessarily. Played it once in the last split, but was never really that comfortable.
No, he's practiced it during the break. He's come back and he's a completely different Azir at the moment.
Really?
He's a lot stronger than what he was, yes. But also don't be surprised if the response is the Cassiopeia from Sharp. From what we have seen, And considering he has been top laning for the start of this split,
True.
he did like Azir and Cassiopeia for the most part. And with the options kind of, he's got any choice that he wants in the world, but Cassiopeia just excels into Azir and scales really easily.
It is generally the matchup we look for, of course. Formerly was the likes of Xerath. Sharp playing a lot of that champion. Did like a bit of Ziggs there as well. Sort of liked a lot of these long range, I just want to sit in lane and farm, was generally his sort of play style in the mid lane. Very controlled, very sort of passive play in the mid. But look, we'll see what he decides to go with. Only a second to go, though. King going to lock away the Tristana, and it is going to be Janna for Chuffer. So, look, I actually don't like Chuffer on a Janna. I like Chuffer on the likes of Annie, Nautilus. I want him like flashing forward. We talk about this bottom lane as the super flash bros. These guys want to be jumping on your face, but not going to necessarily be able to on Janna, although we have seen it in the past.
It's entirely possible that he will, as Janna, somehow flash Monsoon people and put them in bad positions. But in saying that, the Tristana with it will make up for it indefinitely with the amount of jumps that are available from that champion.
And I'm sorry, I saw what was locked in here for the Chiefs, and this lineup is disgusting. It looks terrifying. On paper, you've got Blood Boil for the likes of Swiffer and Radier, and I guess now Sharp is going to lock away the Cogmore, so definitely in his wheelhouse. He's going to be able to sit back, use that Void Ooze, use the Living Artillery, clear out the waves. But is it going to be enough against this comp that has sort of a whole lot of areas of the game closed off here? Of course, you do have Swiper on the Rumble that we haven't seen all that often, but is going to be in a very decent lane matchup, and he's going to have that level 6 power spike. And then in the late game, Azir Jinx with the Blood Boil for either of them, man, things are going to be horrible.
Yeah, the Nunu works quite well with the Jinx and the Azir, and he's got multiple options, of course, to put it on. They've got the Engage, which comes out from Ejim on the Alistar, which alleviates the necessity for Engage in the top lane, which allows the Rumble to be picked from Swiper. It's good into the Maokai as well. Their team comp, it scales exceptionally well for damage. They've got a very big mid-game spike as well. All around, it is a ridiculously well-drafted team comp, but if we have a look at the side of Direwolves, they're no slouches in their own right, and when it comes to scaling, they almost do it better.
Almost do it better against Jinx Azir?
Yeah.
I almost lost my face trying to like get that out. I find that ridiculous, but I guess you're right. I mean, they do have the likes of Cogmore. They've got a super tank there in the top lane, which I guess on the side of the Chiefs, they don't necessarily have. Nunu going to try and get tanky, but not going to have as many resources as we talk about for junglers quite often. So I guess I understand there, but is it going to be coming out from anywhere else? At the bottom lane, I guess Tristana, does she scale quite as well? I mean, we used to see her scaling fantastically into the late game, but now with the new Tristana, how's that going to work?
It still scales very well, and the Cogmore in particular has this unique style of scaling where it just increases range, much like the Tristana's auto attacks with the passive, in fact, but to a much larger extent. And once you get the Luden's Echo, you're an unstoppable Cogmore. Once you hit level 11, it's ridiculous. It's about the range of a Rumble ultimate as well, which is way too far away. It's almost an entire screen that you can throw that down from. They've got the Janna to assist as well, gives extra AD and just gives this extra support. And if Direwolves play their game, and they don't let the Chiefs go straight onto them and utilize that Rumble, or even let the Azir put the poke down, if they've got the Janna to assist and the Cogmore can put down the poke, the Direwolves comp will be able to teamfight quite well.
Well, we'll see what you think, ladies and gentlemen. Hop onto Twitter, use that hashtag CHFWin or the hashtag DWWin, and let us know exactly who you think is going to take this game, whether the Direwolves can exact some revenge for the finals of the first split, or whether the Chiefs still looking unstoppable this time around, because this means a whole lot. Are the Chiefs going to remain undefeated, or are the Direwolves going to be able to tie themselves with them? Because this is going to be huge when it comes to the standings towards the middle of the OPL. So, look, this game's massive. A lot of things hinging on this, and could really change the tune for what we're talking about as far as the OPL is concerned, because I guess the general narrative is the fact that the Chiefs looking like they don't have an equal so far, but the Direwolves looking to really prove that wrong.
Well, if there's any team on paper at the very least that could take the game away from the Chiefs, it is their finals rivals from the last split, and a team that is now second on the ladder against them again in the Direwolves. They've got every possibility to take this game away, and I guess from the draft in particular alone, it is quite even, but the Chiefs have a bigger mid spike. So coming into this game, we need to ask how they will work around, say, the Rumble spike with the Azir ultimate, and how they'll actually get things going in the mid game to either give them that lead that they can cement, or will the Direwolves be able to get through that hiccup of that trough almost of power, come out stronger at the other end?
And will the Chiefs as well be able to get the engages that they're looking for? Because we know that Kog'Maw, if left to his own devices, can just kill you straight up from, like you mentioned, more than a screen away. And it's horrible to deal with.
Oh, yeah.
So Sharp, if he does have his eye in, he could really carry this game if it makes it to the later stages. And, of course, Rady are going to be very squishy on the Jinx, definitely able to be a target. But, ladies and gentlemen, as we move towards the game, I want to remind you of a certain competition going on over on Twitter. Make sure you remember, ladies and gentlemen, to take some pictures of when the Dragons are dying in games 3 and 4. So not this game, the games following this one. And make sure you tweet towards @LOL_Oceania and use that hashtag #IamOPL for the Logitech mouse. Of course, the Daedalus there, and the first 3 in will make it. So just be as quick as you possibly can. That is the thing. Just
and
be really, really fast.
That it is a dragon kill. You can't just see the first time the dragon's seen. It has to actually be the dragon kill that you tweet.
Yeah, you can't just be hovering towards the top side of the map and see the dragon fly past at about the 2-minute mark. That does not count.
No.
Although it is really, really cute.
It is pretty cool.
Yeah, I like looking at that most of the time. I die a lot level 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little bit unfortunate. Let's move back towards the game, though, ladies and gentlemen. Direwolves taking on the Chiefs. And as far as the early game is concerned, I mean, I know that the Chiefs have a spike at around that level 6, but as far as these level 1s, what are they looking for? Are they looking to lane swap? Are we going to see some deep vision try and be gleaned?
Now, the Tristana into the Jinx is a very, I guess, difficult matchup for a direct trade if the Jinx starts with the Rockets, just because the innate range that you start with as a Jinx with the Q is a bit higher than that of a Tristana. But if we take into account the supports, you're going to have the shields from Janna to help you through that laning phase. So they're going to be okay with the 2v2 matchup, especially at level 1. Once level 2 comes around, though, it does get a little bit more difficult for them. But again, I wouldn't be surprised if the Chiefs were the ones to put the lane swap into effect, utilize that Nunu, who has the Blood Boil on a Jinx, take down turrets faster than anyone else could ever imagine happening, and use that small gold advantage that they might take from rotational play early and translate that into level 6 fights.
Yeah, it's interesting to think about it as well, considering the fact that the top lane matchup sort of in favor of Swiper moving into this game. And as far as like being able to clear out jungle camps, you have to think that maybe a Maokai is going to have that, but I guess Rumble's still okay in a jungle follow. We'll see exactly how it happens as we hop onto the Rift, ladies and gentlemen. The Chiefs taking on the Direwolves. And I'm excited to see whether the Direwolves can get this comp to work out for themselves. Of course, they've got the early aggression in the Rek'Sai. They can move around the map relatively effectively. And look, the Chiefs have a terrifying late-game comp, but as we mentioned before, Direwolves also looking equally as strong.
Yeah, they've also got a pretty good siege here on the Direwolves side if they are allowed to get near a turret. And we were talking about how good a Blood Boil is with even Swiffer on the Azir and the Jinx of Radair. But if we have a look at the side of Direwolves, the range that they start to get as the game ramps up is very good for them in a sieging situation. They've got the facilitators for said sieges where they've got the Janna who can shield for extra damage or disengage if need be. And then you've got Chippies who just sits at the front and face tanks damage. But from the looks of it, Direwolves might be the ones doing this lane swap.
Yeah, and Swiper actually was looking for King, but King is going to be discovered towards the top side. And it looks like, wow, King actually decided to go back. So opting in for... Okay.
He's staying.
I don't know.
At least for now.
Oh, dear. Okay, Swiper's going to be heading.
He's been spotted, yeah.
Yeah, King's been spotted as well. So Swiper going to head back towards his turret. Is he going to get there in time, though, as Chopper will have the Howling Gale knock Swiper up there, but King not with enough follow-up damage, and Swiper may need to burn a teleport to get back to lane for the first couple of creeps, or is he just going to head over towards Spooks and try and get a jungle follow going? Because it seems like a lane swap is in effect now for the Direwolves.
What I like about what just happened there was King actually waited until 1 minute 30 to show himself and do any damage. And that was really smart because they couldn't instantly translate to a lane swap. You can see Swiper not actually opting to teleport, he's going to walk back. And this gives enough time for King and Chuffer to hard push that in and deny him an entire wave.
Yeah, and Spooks started on his own over at the red buff, but of course Nunu not going to worry about it too much. Sharp, though, already taking half of his health in damage, having to chug through that flask. He's in fact even using this Void Ooze in order to clear out the minion wave as Swiffer is able to do a whole lot of work. There's the backline gone, and his auto attack from the Sand Soldiers definitely doing work here as Sharp's just trying to do his very best to try and pick up some farm. Chippies and Sybil now just going to steal away the blue buff from the Chiefs side of the map, but that is going to be answered by Spooks as well, who's
now
just still chilling out on his own.
Is very possible, but you can see Ejim with the ward there early and actually just being here early. It is a very smart rotation by Ejim to do this, to at least try and prevent a dive from coming out whatsoever. Swiper being level 2 is a big factor. Ejim just being there, essentially denying that dive. So relegating the direwolves back to just continuing the jungle.
Yeah, and Chippy's continuing to follow around as well, as Sybil's going to use that Tremor Sense to make sure he knows that no one's hanging around in this jungle. They're going to take probably a Rift Scuttler here and keep moving forward, picking up as much farm as they can. Still yet to take that red buff as Radier's just happily freezing this bottom lane. And actually a whole lot more experience being soaked here by the Chiefs because, you know, no one in the bottom side here for Direwolves, meaning that Radier just gets free farm, free levels, and a Jinx with levels. That's a big deal.
It is, because they start to increase with range the more levels they get. Maybe even opting towards the Zap to do extra damage and starting with the BF Sword, because completely left unattended is fantastic of a position, especially when you can put a freeze into effect like you are right now as Radier. This is a very good position for the Jinx to be in, whereas King's not getting the solo experience, but they are in a very, very comfortable 2v2.
Yeah, they most certainly are, and this farm coming thick and fast here for King, actually able to stay ahead of the Jinx, but a whole lot more minions building up for Radier as he's just freezing this one for as long as he possibly can.
I wouldn't be surprised if Rek'Sai and Maokai kind of band together and try and break this freeze by pushing it to the tower super hard. They just need to get vision of where Spooks is and where he is on the map at all so that they feel safe in doing so, otherwise it's a very big risk.
Spooks is set up camp though.
Yeah, he has.
On on the blue side jungle of the Direwolves. He's got a pink ward there, he's got multiple wards hanging around, doesn't in fact have any of his jungle items. He's just gone back and picked up a whole bunch of vision. And he's going to be able to see when the Direwolves move through this jungle. Ping's going down for the Chiefs as well, just to make sure that, you know, everyone knows that Spooks has done a great job as far as the vision is concerned. And Swiper going to miss a cannon creep, so that's upsetting.
Directing attention to his own ward so that everyone was aware of what he
it's
did.
like, I did a really good job, guys.
Notice me.
Exactly, and we noticed. Don't worry, Spooks.
That's going to be not really doing anything, though, is that ward vision, funnily enough. Because the position it's in is not going to be able to stop what is happening in the bot lane, which was, as predicted, an attempt to stop the freeze from happening, as Radier does his best attempt to keep it there, but Chippy's pressure finally coming through.
Yeah, and Radier able to farm out under this turret relatively well, only misses one of those. Now continuing to farm this one out. 2 CS in the lead as the laning phase continues. Spooks is hanging around though, and Chippy's is going to have to respect Radier here. 2-level advantage for the Jinx. Massive amounts of farm as well. Hasn't been back to buy just yet. As Spooks probably just wants to steal away this Grom. Oh, not going to be able to though. Just going to get
I don't think he had Smite actually.
No, he didn't.
There you go.
Well, with Spooks, this game seems to be that the thought that counts, you know?
No, he's thinking a lot.
Yeah. This ward not going to even be spotted here by Sybil. Didn't even walk into that brush. As Spooks gets pinged out. Nice little ward deep in the Chief's base. Or at least their side of the jungle. Direwolves going to know what's going on there, and Swiffer going to continue farming this one out. So as far as sort of this mid lane being an island is concerned, does that work out here for Swiffer, of course, wanting to scale? Or does it work out more for Sharp, because he wants the same thing?
It kind of works out for Swiffer a bit better than it does for Sharp. Of course, being left to their own devices allows Swiffer to be a bit more aggressive in the way that he's playing towards Sharp and stop any reasonable 1v1 farming. And I mean, there was a small CS lead here in favor of Swiffer, but he's only just recalled now, whereas Sharp had recalled earlier for a tier. And given that, they're actually quite even. But the first buy for Swiffer is going to be a big damage boost in terms of a 1v1. And if they continue to stay on their island, then it's going to end up affecting the Kog'Maw a fair bit.
Yeah, and it's double dipping as well as far as this damage boost is concerned. 20% extra CDR now picked up with that Forbidden Idol, and of course the Fiendish Codex giving him more attack speed, as well as the CDR on his spells and the extra mana regen and ability power. So a huge buy here for Swiffer. Probably wants his Morellonomicon fairly quickly, but still likes it. There's the flash from Ejim though as King. Could potentially get knocked back, but in fact Headbutt was still on cooldown. Swiper going to burn Chuffer down with that Howling Gale on cooldown. Gets the slow from both of the Harpoons. Now looking to get some auto attacks off as there's the Howling Gale. Chuffer uses the Ignite. Actually, no, that's Ejim as Chuffer forced to flash. King now in trouble, but he's trying to turn it onto Swiper, who moves into the brush. Oh, the explosive shots on him. There's the Eye of the Storm, a Swiper continuing to go aggressive, but the last auto attack from King is enough for first blood. Ejim might be in trouble. No, the minions as well helping the cow out. And it's a 1-for-1 trade, but King gets first blood, and that is huge.
King picking up first blood is massive for him. Unfortunately, with his flash and ultimate still available, does go down to Ejim there with the assist from minions, which is very interesting to note. And I mean, on the back of a very big misplay from the Chiefs there, though, which has to be pointed out, is that while Rumble was overheated and with no headbutt available, as Spooks did pick that up, they committed too hard to actually trying to kill Chuffer.
Yeah, and Spooks in the jungle, as you mentioned, 3 people there for the Direwolves, still able to steal away that blue buff. Very frustrating as a Nunu, but going back to that top lane, you're exactly right. Of course, King probably didn't have to die, but it was massive amounts of misplay here for the Chiefs on, champions they're very comfortable in.
Yeah, considering that they are, we know that Ejim is the Alistar god, and unfortunately the overhit, I guess, wasn't coordinated too well with each other, and it ends up going down as a kill to King, who, I guess the trade was there, but the kill went on to the relevant person of the Direwolves, whereas Alistar picking up a kill. Whoa!
Oh, there's the Emperor's Divide. Swiffer heading back as there's a headbutt pulverized as Ejim's trying to prove his worth on this. Oh my goodness. There's Swiffer with the last attack for his Sand Soldier. Kathy and Surprise going to farm up the wave, and Chief's probably going to transition into a dragon. A
fantastic engage, and Ejim showing us why he is that Alistar god after a small misplay, getting the retribution kill right there, picking up Sharp, and a big trade is, what are you doing?
Yeah, King going a little bit aggressive. Sybil looking for the knockup, though, finds it onto Swiper as the explosive shot getting charged. There's the big one, but Swiper only loses half of his health in that one and is just going to continue about his merry. Chiefs now able to push down this bottom lane if they want to, but they are going to move towards the dragon by the looks of things. Swiffer has headed back to base, picked up a Morella Nomicon and a couple of wards, a few extra things here, and his Azir definitely looking good.
Yeah, he's got the Morello, so that is big for him compared to what is just a TR for the Kog'Maw. Is a big item discrepancy and allows them to consider being overly aggressive with their objective focus at the moment. And the fact that Sybil actually reveals himself in the top lane to simply put damage down onto Swiper, and King being up there as the AD carry, the damage sources in the wrong places to be able to contest that dragon. The first one at 10 minutes going down to Chiefs.
And is it the fact that the Direwolves are just respecting the fact that Swiper had teleport, also had equalizer, and that Direwolves probably didn't want to contest the first dragon anyway, or is it just a misplay?
They could have contested the first dragon, but the way that they went about it, because Sharp was already down, was that they didn't actually expect to be able to contest the dragon just due to the numbers disadvantage. Weirdly enough, the Chiefs actually opting to go bottom at the same time as the gank coming out top was the weird part about it all. But in saying that, they still pick up the dragon after putting some pressure in the bot lane. And it's just the fact that they revealed themselves top. That was a crit.
Yeah.
Oh, he's got a shiv. Wow.
Yeah, so King able to crit. Now, quite often, and we know that you like pro players that can crit all the time there, Rusty, so able to demonstrate that one. Actually gets another one there without the static shiv, so handy. And King just continuing to try and pressure this bottom lane as much as he possibly can. Radier at half health, but look at these static shiv crits. Really doing work for King, as Radier's probably pretty happy with his BF sword, but now thinking like he's got a bit of item envy.
Wants to shiv himself.
Yeah, the shiv definitely doing work here for King.
But he doesn't have a Janna on his side here, Radier, to actually utilize the extra attack damage that the shield gives, but King can quite easily utilize the Janna, sit there with his static shiv, and crit for days.
Yes, he's doing a lot of work. And of course does just get a little bit of extra damage down onto Spooks, but Spooks not going to worry about it too much, just eats things and he's going to be healthy again, but King rocket jumping out of the way, never going to be in trouble, as now Sybil looking to try and put some pressure onto Swiffer, whose spidey senses are tingling just a little bit. Oh, Swiper actually looking to try and come back into something here, living artillery onto Swiffer though. Does he have the flash? He does. There's the heal available as well. Emperor's Divide thrown out for funsies. That was an odd one.
Just a zoning tool.
Yeah. I don't think we can give him that much credit.
No, I mean, Swiper was behind, which was why the decision from Swiffer was to turn that around straight away and engage, but hesitation was what actually occurred there. And
yeah.
Not knowing if he should commit to the turnaround engage because he wasn't really sure what to make of the Rek'Sai and how big he was, in fact. So very easily able to get out there with the tunnels. Nothing coming from it besides an embarrassing Emperor's Divide.
Yeah. So, look. People relatively divided on Swiffer's ability to play Azir, one could say.
Sounds like we are divided.
No, Swiffer a fantastic player. We saw Cheese as well, actually having a great game on his ear. Still had a couple of misplays there. The champion just a little bit tricky.
Seems like we're granting people like a certain amount of misplays a game as Azir.
Yeah.
Because he is so difficult.
The Azir count.
I'd give him 1.
Yep. So there's one, Swiffer, you can have that. And until we see another one, you can still be granted Azir pout playing ability. The Sybil's just going to take down a Gromp, I believe. Has he done anything towards the top side there? Blue buff may have been given over to someone. Not entirely sure. No steals, but it is going to be pinged out on the other side of the map. Spook's hanging around there. Does know the timer, of course, stole away the last one. And is going to have
Look
vision
at the
of the
ward
area.
coverage in the jungle of Direwolves here near the blue. Just before the blue buff spawns, there is legitimately about 7 wards to actually give them vision of every angle where the blue buff could be taken from. As Swiper...
Yeah, he's in a bunch of trouble here as the Equalizer does go down. Band-Aid in the top lane, going to clear out the minion wave after his corpse is removed from the map. And Sybil and Chippy's able to get some work done, but not going to have a minion wave to push the tower.
I mean, in hindsight...
Oh, beautiful buster shot there as Egypt's going to have to flash on top of it. There's the flash out of the way from King, though, but the ultimate from Spooks, is he going to get the damage down? No, Chopper with the Monsoon, even healing King up, and they're looking to go back in.
They are looking to go back in and probably stop the tower from going down as Sharp and Swiffer.
Yeah, Sharp actually able to get some auto attacks down here. Oh, not quite finding it as Swiffer did get the Sand Soldiers into a nice position, but didn't want to dive a turret. And had already fallen down just a little bit. Still ahead in farm as the Chiefs in the bottom lane just sheepishly moving away. And this game super close. 500 gold the lead for the Direwolves as we move towards the mid-game. Sybil able to take down this Rift Scuttler as Swiffer. Oh, there's a headbutt. Pulverize out of the tunnel. And Sybil is forced to use the flash to get to safety. The Chiefs now 1 minute on this dragon. Egypt knows that he can head back to base, get some more mana, get some more health, and get back in time in order to contest this. And you can see the Chiefs definitely want to take that one down because there is a heck of a lot of vision available around the area here for the Chiefs.
Yeah, that's actually a lot of vision almost shared between both teams at the moment. You count the tunnels as what looks like vision on the minimap. There is vision everywhere. But, I mean, at the moment, it's a very stagnant game. There's nothing really happening besides that first dragon going down. 2-2 in kills and 1 turret to Direwolves. They did pick up a nice kill in the top lane as a trade for the blue buff, and a lot was happening in the bot lane, but no kills actually coming from it in the past 2 minutes. Summoner's burn, and that's going to be really good for the next fight around the dragon if they do opt to fight at 25 minutes. But if we have a look at the items of the Chiefs, we have got the completed flat magic pen items from Swiper.
Yeah.
I would not really advise fighting this dragon if you were Direwolves.
Well, Ejim back with some mana, dodges the Howling Gale, and is going to be able to clear out some vision here. Removes a tunnel as well. He's just going to sweep things out. And no vision available for the Direwolves apart from that Rift Scuttler that was locked down by Sybil, I believe. Actually just dissipates, and the dragon going to be started up here. And the Direwolves probably not going to make it here in time. No vision available of the area. King's in the bottom lane, and we've got a Rek'Sai back in base without the Void Rush available. So look, that's going to be dragon number 2 falling down in favor of the Chiefs. But the Direwolves maybe a little bit strategically letting these ones go in the early stages of the game, just wanting to scale up to a point where they can happily fight. Yeah,
it was Dragon 2, but again, it is only Dragon 2, which doesn't really provide you with any effective combat stats for taking someone down. So contesting it, not a massive pressing issue for Direwolves at present. They can kind of just sit back and continue to farm and just accept the fact that that was going to go down. And from this, they look to maybe scale up with items themselves before considering a legitimate 5v5 fight. You can see that the Infinity Edge, Morello's, and all of the Magic Pen items from the Chiefs side are completed, but you're still waiting on the Luden's Echo from the Kog'Maw in particular.
Yeah.
And maybe Boots 2 or the next makings of an Infinity Edge here for King before you even want to consider fighting. Just because the raw 5v5 that you have from Champions is not going to go in your favor this early.
Well, King able to do some work on this Tristana, able to farm up underneath this turret relatively well. Still behind by about 30 CS here to Radier, but King been moving around the map, making a few more plays. Is Radier now going to take down a red buff for himself. So we'll see whether they utilize that and to try and actually get some fights on their terms as Ejim waiting on top of a ward. Spook's hanging around as well. I don't know whether he's got the Raptor sense, but if he does, it will spot the fact that Ejim's feeling a little bit silly.
I don't think he's feeling silly. He just doesn't know that it was there.
Oblivious.
Yes.
Maybe. Yep.
Not silly.
So not silly. I'm sorry, Ejim. And actually, Ejim often goes back and watches these and says silly things about me on Twitter. So, look, I apologize. Ejim, please
don't fall for that bait, Ejim. He's telling you to do it.
It's not true. Swift able to lock down the cannon creep there in the mid lane and continues to farm up very, very well on the Azir. Now also ahead by about 30 CS there in the mid lane. Was down to about a 10 CS advantage. Sharp had clawed that back, but now, since going back to pick up that last item, still a little bit further behind. King actually taking a lot of damage from the red buff, but of course allows him to give Radius some turret aggro. Not going to be able to take that last rocket.
Now I know that last hit was the Shiv proc, and generally speaking it's quite difficult to last hit as Trist under tower because of the explosive shot dealing damage to each minion next to it with the last hit. But he is legitimately critting to last hit everything under the turret. I don't think he's missed one under a turret.
You are very obsessed with crits.
Yes.
Just going to point that out and leave it there. That can just hang. I think Zrady going to continue farming up here on the bottom side of the map. 3 pink wards still available around this dragon. And man, the Chiefs haven't needed to spend too much on that one because they have been spending a lot of time just hanging out, being more than fine. Still 400 gold the lead for the Direwolves. Things very, very even and very slow this game. Often we see the Chiefs games, if you did manage to catch the Chiefs versus Legacy game, it was a very, very different story. Of course, the Chiefs moving around the map a whole lot, able to get things going using the split pushes to their advantage. But this time, both teams just playing it out very slow, methodical game.
And this is playing not necessarily into the hands of the Direwolves, but to their favor at the very least. They've got that Ludens now finished on the Cogmore. Irrespective of the CS advantages, that one turret seems to be what's keeping the gold lead slightly in favor of the Direwolves here.
Yeah.
And the fact that the top laner is kind of evening out a CS difference, being 1-0 up and 30 CS on top of that. Doing very well against Viper here is Chippy. So you have a look a bit more overall at what's actually happening, and Direwolves are starting to get their big items, which will help them to fight, as Spooks is just going to continue to be a pest.
Yeah, he's being a pain. Might even be able to steal away himself Raptor if he wants to, if he can be bothered. As here's the Smite War. There's the Consume Smite, and Spook says, top yeah, I have that, and you don't, so I'm going to be able to take this one.
You can't beat that.
No, you certainly can't. Spook's going to cop a living artillery for his trouble, though, as Sharp's just trying to get something done. Reindeer Cogmore, adorable in the bottom lane, but not able to really answer the aggression of Swiffer and Spooks when they're together, when he's on his own.
And I mean, to be fair, he's almost an entire item behind us. Oh, whoa.
That is an interesting dive. Oh, the Ignite's been put down. Heal to be used. Is the rocket going to land? Oh, Spooks throws in the Ice Blast, but it's a really nice shield. Oh! Super mega close rocket comes through, but not going to lock down the kill under King, who's on single-digit health there on the bottom side. Turret is going to fall in the bottom lane, though, as Swiper going to help Swiffer out with this. And oh, Sybil
returning
the favor. Steals away the blue buff. There it is.
Finally getting his revenge here on Spooks being very annoying, but they do get the bottom turret, and they got a lot of damage down onto the second one. Even though they didn't pick up King, they're getting what's required of them, and that's objectives.
Yeah, exactly. And King, of course, now without any summoners as well, did have to use the flash and the heal. Buster shot also on cooldown, so Radius still sitting with his heal and his flash available. Ejim didn't even need to flash, so that's a big deal. Having that flash pulverize into the headbutt combo is massive for any potential fights that are going to break out. 49 seconds, speaking of which, on this Dragon for the 3rd time round for the Chiefs. They want to lock that one down. And now the Chiefs with this comp that's probably happy to scale. Oh, actually, Swiffer looking to try and get an Emperor's Divide, but doesn't find it. He's just going to flat out die.
Oh, wow, Sharp. That was really good. He actually aimed for the flash.
Oh, my goodness. Beautiful play. And I don't know what Swiffer was trying to do, but his Emperor's Divide button seemed to have not worked in that situation. And Chopper probably just there at the right time.
Yeah, he felt like he wanted to go in and then changed his mind as he went in, knowing that he wasn't actually in range to commit too hard to that. So a small mechanical error there coming out of Swiffer, and being well played by Sharp, though. Still having both of his summoners and managing to pick up the kill. Yeah,
Luden's Echo completed, like you mentioned. So feeling good on this Cogmore at this stage. Goes back to base and picks up a completed Archangel stuff. Going to be very close to that Seraph's Embrace because of that tier being picked up so early on. Not going to stop the Chiefs from being able to pick up this Dragon at a very quick clip here. 22 minutes into the game. 3 Dragons, to nothing. And the Chiefs now staying ahead on that front. The 6% stats from that first one starting to become pretty relevant this game.
Definitely starting to become relevant. The third dragon taken with near no hesitance, no actual delays whatsoever. So their fifth dragon win condition is starting to become very evident, and Direwolves need to start respecting that. But, I mean, at the moment, things are going quite well for the Direwolves. They need to just start picking up some fights that'll be on their terms very soon. Speaking of.
Yeah, Sybil actually going to get the knock up here onto Swiper. There's the flash twisted advance, equalized by Swiper's ultimate here, but he's going down very, very low. There's the flash pulverize, doesn't find anyone as Ejim just headbutts Sybil for fun, and Chuffer comes through, does get the slow as Spooks and Radier are going to come through. Radier now able to get a lot of damage down. Monsoon going to try and do some work, but Super Mega Death Rocket straight into the face of Chippy's going to get him low enough in order to be taken down. Radier gets excited, the last bit of which going to be used to try and search for someone, but not going to find anything more here. The Chiefs trading 1 for 1. Both top laners are going to go down, but Sharp very, very low now. Chuffer gets some vision down. Oh, everyone looking for Ejim. The turret going to fall in the mid lane, but Radiant now trying to get something back. Gets exhausted as well, but he's not going to stop. Flashes over the top of the Howling Gale as Spooks now looking for the kill. The zap lands onto Sharp. Radiant gets excited out of the way of the Acathian surprise. It's just going to be used to pick up farm. More zaps to land, more slows, but Swiffer, he wants that kill as he rotates around after taking the turret. And Swiper even stopping the split push here on the bottom side of the map as King. He wants to get it down. There's the buster shot. But what more do you have? There's the rocket jump. And King just gets burnt to death. Swiper locking down his first kill of the game. And we're going to have a small pause. So as soon as the game gets into the exciting stage, the game just says, okay, we need to pause, we need to calm down because everything was slow now. It's all accelerated and I don't know how to handle it.
It's giving us a second to actually assess what just happened right there. And that was a very extended trade in the top lane in particular. Radair finally getting excited, actually picking up nearly 3 kills from that. I think Swiffer getting the last one there onto Janna. A big fight in favor of the Chiefs, and very well timed for them to be able to cement what was a very good trade. Even though King got the bottom turrets, they pick up the mid turret in response. They're most likely going to get that top turret. I think that went down.
I believe so. They've definitely got a whole bunch of minions up there.
So that's a 1 trade for them with objectives. It's then a 1 trade for them with kills. Everything's starting to roll in favor of the Chiefs, and because they already had that slight item advantage, it's going to be even bigger.
Well, we're going to have a look at a replay in the mid lane here of Swiffer.
That was when he was about to use his ultimate and suddenly had many regrets. And I guess he used his... This is the really good part. Sharp, look where he threw the artillery. Predicted the flash so perfectly timed by Sharp. Very good prediction.
Yeah, wonderful play. And Swiffer just... He had the ultimate up. He just didn't really know where to use it. And of course, getting a Cogmore away from you is probably something he's going to be well and truly fine with because he gets moved away and then just keeps throwing out ultimates over and over again.
Yeah, Cog has no issue with being thrown away. Range is not a concern for a Cogmore, but I guess just using the ultimate, it's a small disrupt if you at least knock him away.
True.
It's just the overconfidence on the engage followed by the sudden regret of Swiffer.
Well, we're going to see a replay of this fight as well. And this one, it goes a little bit longer as Swiper's going to use the equalizer to try and at least soften up the Direwolves.
Yeah, it's a very prolonged fight. And it does start with Swiper going down as Ejim unfortunately missing that flash engage. But you can see it's a 1v3 at the moment as Radair finally makes his way into the fight. And for the most part, the rest of this fight is spent with Sharp already low. Chippy's sacrificing himself to stop Radair from getting excited at a very relevant time. And I mean, from here on out, Ejim kind of gets caught. They realize they have an opportunity to go back onto him, but Radair's right there. Like, he's actually just farming minions right now, waiting for them to engage onto his friend. Turns it around, gets exhausted, but that doesn't even really matter because he's just going to flash the tornado like a beast and continue to get excited. From here, you've got Swiffer coming from the right at the moment. He's going to be able to flank Chuffer as so many crits.
Yeah, and that zap didn't actually land there from
No, they hit
it was
minion.
a point-blank minion shot. Would have landed, though, so it was a very good try. Except
it was
pesky
straight.
minions,
Yeah,
man.
those meddling minions.
Meddling minions every single time. We're trying to get this game back for you as quickly as possible, ladies and gentlemen. We, of course, have a slight pause. We'll be back into it very, very quickly. But actually, we're going to be back into it right now as the Chiefs just going to revel in the aftermath of their 4 dead on the side of the Direwolves. Was actually a prolonged ace for the Chiefs. And they've turned around that gold advantage. Of course, the Direwolves were ahead by about 400 for a lot of the game, but now 2,000 odd in advantage for the Chiefs. 0-0-5 for Spooks as well. He's going to have another. If he has another Immortal performance, of course, his previous game, in fact, it wasn't his previous, but the one before that on Nunu, 0-0-18.
I think not just an Immortal performance, but a 0-kill performance with no deaths as well would be unbelievable.
It would be pretty silly. So Spooks, we'll see whether he can get a kill. Maybe die a couple of times. Get that one sorted out.
Feel better about ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. His Nunu is very, very silly. As the Chiefs were trying a bit of Baron. Decide instead to take down a Rift Scuttler and just try and deter Civil from being around here. Swiffer just going to head over the wall there with the E and continue to farm this one out. And is Azir really starting to roll? Does have another needlessly large rod as well, looking for that Rabbidan's death cap. Or potentially as on... No, I'm not even going to say it, because it's going to be a Rabbidan's death cap. This is Swiffer.
Yeah, it'll be a Rabbidan's. I've no doubts it will be a Rabbidan's.
No
Even
doubts
foregoing
whatsoever.
the Stinger, by the way, just because he has the Blood Boil available to boost him up.
Yeah.
Doesn't need to go for that extra attack speed, but I guess it'll be a competition between who Spooks actually wants the Blood Boil now.
And Radier as well picked up the Phantom Dancer as well as the Infinity Edge, now with a BF sword on top of that. Swiffer doesn't need to be careful. This Cogmore doing some damage. But Radier, I mean, he's got wave clear for days as well. Look at these crits already doing, you know, 7,500 damage. Pretty silly stuff.
7,500.
Yeah. What?
So
That's
750.
Yeah, 750, 7,500.
Okay.
You okay?
Yeah, yeah.
Look, I just like to
700's in a
experiment.
quarter-century.
Yeah. What?
No.
Not sure about that. Yeah, 3/4 of a century of... No, it's not even that. That doesn't even make sense.
I
don't know the Roman numerals for it, nor how to say Roman numerals.
I'm not going to get into Roman numerals.
Let's not talk about this. I think we're done.
I think the important part that we can talk about is the fact that they're trying to siege the mid.
Yeah, and Direwolf's now with a disadvantage as well, trying to do that, but Explosive Shot doing relevant damage as it lands onto Radier and Ejim when it explodes on the turret. Down to half health. And that is actually going to be Swiffer heading back. So the Living Artillery is still doing work. And look at this wave clear from the Direwolves. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, they forced Swiffer back, and Swiper had also recalled. So unless they take this turret quickly, there's the engage potential from the Chiefs.
Yep. Well, they're trying to engage something. Headbutt not off cooldown just yet as the Direwolves. Yeah. Direwolves looking to try and continue this one out. Chippies does have teleport available, so he's going to deal with that top wave and then be able to teleport in. But are the Direwolves going to be able to just deal with this turret, or are the Chiefs going to be able to pull the trigger in time? Unbreakable Will is available for Ejim, so the fact that he's on low health, probably not as much of a problem as you could otherwise imagine. And there's the flash headbutt! And look at how much CC is available for the Chiefs! The equalizer onto 3 people at the same time as Swiper going down very low. Ejim getting caught as well as King's trying to rip through this fight. Radier's untouched in the back as Swiffer with the huge ultimate. King almost gets crit to death, but now look at the excited Radier. And the Chiefs roll over the team fight. And if they pull the trigger, they pull the trigger. Ejim, that's what we were expecting.
That was a great engage from Ejim, but I mean, it started to look like it was going bad for the Chiefs. You could see nobody actually dying from the Direwolves lineup for the first 5 seconds. They were looking to turn it around before old mate Swiffer pulls that trigger.
Old mate Swiffer.
Ridiculous engage, using that Emperor's Divide and catching them all in a horrible position. Jinx gets excited. They end up getting the Baron on top of that and a ridiculous team fight from the Chiefs.
Absolutely insane. And I guess Swiper dying was probably a result of him not quite having that Zhonya's Hourglass available just yet and playing very, very close to the front line. Of course, Swiper, generally that tank player wants to be right in amongst it, unable to really get there this time around on the Rumble, but is going to have that in another 500 gold. They're looking for their 4th Dragon here as well. Sybil now hanging around. The rest of the Direwolves want to get there in time. The Chiefs do have to deal with this top wave, though. That could be dangerous, as Rumble is actually still waiting around this Dragon. Look at the zap damage. My goodness. Bloodthirst to complete it for Radier as Chippies has found him. There's the flash knockup. Radier's going to get destroyed. This could be the Direwolves fight, but the Equalizer and the Emperor's Divide doing so much work. Direwolves flashing away on all fronts. And you kill one of the damage sources, the other one gets the Blood Boil and tears you apart.
And this was on the back of another good team fight by the Chiefs, but it was so recent that there was barely any summoners from anybody. The jump actually getting interrupted by King, I believe, from the Tristana, trying to get into a better position. Finds himself on top of the Equalizer, and this is the Chiefs team comp, and their ability to fight around certain areas coming through really big, as we're going to see
that
replay. And that, yeah, on top of the Rumble ult, the Jinx ultimate coming through at the same time as the Azir Sand Soldiers. And you can see Direwolves actually still have their backline doing the relevant damage. King and Sharp, but watch this.
Oh, and he waited out the exhaust too.
Yeah. Like you ever had a chance of winning that fight, completely out the window because of that engage from Swiffer.
Yeah, and used the double heals as well, I think, as Radier and Swiffer. Yep, they do have them on relatively similar cooldowns. Of course, the second one not going to be as effective, but Swiffer, you saw, went down to about single-digit health during that fight and still looking fantastic. You can see wandering up the lane. Rabbiden's Death Cap in hand, or on head, as it otherwise would be. Spook's 1-0-10, though. He has managed to pick up the kill. So not going to continue that route, but he's had a brilliant game. 11 out of the 13 kills for the Chiefs. He's had a hand in. And now with a whole lot of extra support available to him as well. That Lock of the Iron Solari is there. Spook's just going to run around and be annoying towards this Gromp, I guess. Chippy's going to come over and try and do some work. Radier not going to get found by the Howling Gale, nor is he going to find the Zap. And the Direwolves still trying to hold on to this game. You can see, look at the pink wards available for the Chiefs. Lots of vision around this map, but I guess not as deep as you'd otherwise think. The Chiefs like to grab a lot of extra vision, but not this time around, as the Chiefs now looking to try and set things up. They steal away an easy blue buff and continue to just have control.
The vision for them is in a very relevant area, though. They're not going overboard with their vision because they're focusing around the bottom half of the map, and that is where the entirety of their vision currently lies.
Yeah.
Even when that sun turret goes down, there's a ward directly next to it to maintain the vision of the mid lane, and then it looks to me, just because of this vision, and from what we're seeing now in particular, I guess will help that fact, they're looking to siege bottom.
Yeah, the Zap almost finds Sharp there, as well as the shield from the turret going to be helping out. Radiant now critting for 1,000, which is pretty silly.
Turret.
Yep, that turret gets melted. And with this Blood Boil, they have the rotational advantage. 4 dragons means that third dragon buff definitely helping them out with the movement speed. They're looking for the 5th. It's going to be up relatively soon as well. Only another 3 or so minutes before that one's there. And the Direwolves now just looking to try and defend, and they need to fight for the next dragon. That could just spell the end of the game. Although, their defense of their turrets, based on this Baron buff that the Chiefs have swirling around them, is definitely been good. They only lost 1 in a turret.
Yeah, it's pretty good for them so far. I guess they've got the Kog'Maw who can actually focus onto the champions and not just on the wave clear, though his wave clear is unbelievably good.
It is.
It kind of pushes them back a little bit. We have to second guess. If we commit to hitting this turret, we're going to be taking a lot of damage. We're up against a Righteous Glory Maokai, a Rek'Sai who can just straight away go in, and it's very possible that they can get dove. We've seen how quickly Radier does go down if they catch him. It was just unfortunate that there was no summoners during that fight, and it still went in favor of the Chiefs. But I mean, the potential for a one fight is always going to be there for the Direwolves. They'll need to execute it exquisitely.
Yeah, it's true. So, Chiefs continuing to put pressure on. Not going to see the Dragon Timer just yet, so just over 2 minutes. And I keep mentioning it, but I just feel like this 5th Dragon is going to be a big deal for the Chiefs, or whether the Direwolves can grab there first. They're not too far behind just yet. 7,000 gold.
Swiffer wants this.
Yeah, he's looking for King.
In fact, he's found King, hitting his minions.
Swiffer doesn't like that. He likes to keep his own minions, and there's the auto attack doing half of King's health. Swiffer just running at him. There's the E. Oh, flashes over the Emperor's Divide, uses the heal. Ejim gets the ignite, and Swiffer in the end is able to get the kill. But man, that flash from King was incredible.
Ejim cheating just there. That was a really intense 1v1.
Oh, I know.
But that was really well played by King in particular. Unfortunately, going to go down in that 1v1 trade, and you can see
an extraordinary amount of crits from Radier.
Yeah. I'm the one that talks about crits.
Yeah, I know. Like, you just put it in my head, but he just
he crits for.
He took half of Sharp's health with inherent rocket damage.
He crits a lot.
He certainly does. Oh, able to actually get some rockets onto Sharp here as well. Gonna have to move out of there. The equalizer comes down. Super Mega Death Rocket picks up the kill as Radier snipes him after the flash. Headbutt from Ejim just to discern the Direwolves from wanting to defend this turret. And now with that mid lane inhibitor down, the Chiefs easily able to take down the Dragon here in a minute if they want to, or they might even try and get some damage down onto these Nexus turrets. The wave clear's insane, and it's just the fact that 6, 1, and 3 is Radier. He's able to get so much damage from such far away now, level 17 on the Jinx. And it's just getting too hard here for the Direwolves.
Yeah, 5 completed items from Jinx with the Blood Boil to boot, the Alistar and the Nunu.
Oh, Spook's just ulting here. Yeah, they're going to use the zoning absolute zero as Sybil. Sybil just have to flash away here. As another flash available from Swiper, just going to Zhonya's as well. He's going to be safe.
Luden's?
Oh, Luden's Echo, exactly as you predicted from Sharp, is going to lock down the kill. Direwolves are going to use their lockets as Sybil trying to get in amongst it, but Radiant just going to turn around, flashes, picks up the kill, gets excited, King in trouble, but not going to get too much more. Yeah, that's doing so much work here. King's very far away. Chippies is engaging again. Ejim, Righteous Glory's being popped, and Chippy's going to flash away. Super Mega Death Rocket just going to lock down another kill, and Radiant's eye is most definitely in.
It's
tonight.
Ridiculous. At the moment, he is just, whoa, that's a really close.
Yeah, living artillery, yeah. Oh, Swiffer. Has to be careful. Just going to use the E, going to get himself to safety. 5th Dragon is now up, though. The Chiefs relatively low, but look, there is no follow-up here from the Direwolves. No teleports to be had, and that's a 5th Dragon buff for the Chiefs. 17-9 now, 10,000 gold in the lead. More importantly, 5 Dragons to none.
5-0 Dragons, even 8-3 in turrets. Everything going in favor of the Chiefs, and it just stemmed out of this one fight where it just goes so well for them. And that's what the Chiefs are ridiculously good at, is capitalizing on a single thing. Translating that, you've now got the 8-1 Jinx, who is at 5 completed items, working on a 2nd Phantom Dancer again.
What is it with Radiant and building 2 Phantom Dancers with a Nunu?
He just likes 2 Phantom. He just wants to be over the attack speed cap because of Nunu. And I guess, you know what, it alleviates the ability that you have to blood boil the Jinx because you've got Nazir.
That's true.
Which is not
He's
too
even
bad.
going to headbutt Sybil out of the way here, and they are going to lock down the 2nd Baron. Oh, Sybil not going to get Emperor's Divided over the wall, but Swiffer's still going to be able to lock down the kill. 5th Dragon buff, of course, getting a lot of extra auto attack damage. King just going to happily recall in this top brush. The Chiefs, completely unbeknownst to them, that they could have had a kill on the AD carry, but isn't going to matter too much to them. They just want to push out these waves as quickly as possible, and it looks like the top lane is going to be the first port of call.
It's not going to be super easy for them to siege this unless they just instantly commit to the dive. They do have the Rumble ultimate available. We've seen Absolute Zero as a zoning tool, but it's going to come down ultimately to the guy who's critting for 1,400 at the moment. If he can continue to crit with that 5th Dragon.
That 5th Dragon buff is doing work for Radiant.
Look at that.
Oh my goodness, Ejim in there with unnecessary help taking that kill down because Swiffer and Radiant had the damage without anything else. And the Chiefs transition that into another turret. Sybil getting torn to shreds by Radiant. And the shield from the Bloodthirster, everything just working out. They're easily going to end this game. Multiple waves of super minions, and Radiant doesn't even want to shoot the Nexus. He wants to be getting as many kills on this fountain as he can. Turns around, afterthought shots on the Nexus, and the Chiefs lock down their 6th win in a row in the OPL, and Direwolves down to 4-2.
The Chiefs looking incredibly strong, though. We just see them turn it on with their items. Work around objective, play 5-0 in Dragons. Such a strong performance from them. And the Direwolves, they did look very good, but just dropped off towards the end there in a mid-game team fight.
Yeah, just weren't quite able to make it there. It was a little bit of an interesting sort of situation that they put themselves in with the fact that they weren't able to contest any of the Dragons, and the Chiefs just looked like they took control slowly but surely. And even though they were behind in gold at the beginning, it just looked like everything was playing into their hands.
It definitely was playing into their hands. The way that they play around the map, they work it so perfectly. I think we even have a replay as an example of that. And this is around the Dragon fight. Raider kind of struggles a little bit at the start of this fight, but you can see how strong they are as we'll roll the clip. And immediately, once Raider gets caught, just watch how the Chiefs manage to turn this fight around. The equalizer in the perfect position. Swiffer comes in again and goes massive, and even without what is their star player of Raider, who just did so much work in this game, they still managed to come up big in every team fight.
Yeah, and that Emperor's Divide didn't actually do much damage there as well. I mean, it was all of the Sand Soldiers' attack command and Swiper landing that perfect equalizer onto both of the carries that just locked it down. And I didn't even notice that during that team fight. I thought the Emperor's Divide was another big deal situation, but no, all Swiper for that particular one.
It actually happened a couple times. I don't want to roast Swiffer too much. He played exceptionally well,
He
but
did.
The Emperor's Divides weren't really on point.
Well, also King having the best possible flash over the Emperor's Divide that I've ever seen. But ladies and gentlemen, we are going to head into our next matchup. But as we go into the break, we're going to have a listen into how the Chiefs play these ones out with sounds of the game.
I can follow up. Yeah, I can follow the Jinx ulti. Nice. Oh. Nice. Jinx. Nice. No.
I got knocked out.
Careful, go. Cut back. Get the reset. I didn't die. Nice. Reset.
Snowball's gonna kill Jinx.
Nice.
Woo! Yeah, boy.